Hey guys, this is Matt with Comax Gaming and welcome to another SourceMod tutorial. So what you're seeing right now is not me doing anything. I'm just voice narrating because I forgot to enable my microphone while I was actually recording the tutorial. So as you can see, I'm very happy. That's the load trails function that I got from another plugin I made. It's for a store, a much sophisticated store. The first thing we do is print to server that we're starting to load the trails. The next thing I do is the build path. Well, I'm declaring the string, but then the build path. I put the build path there because the plugin that I made, the trails one, is actually a store. Like I said, it's going to contain models, hats, and trails. So having a local variable for the key values was going to pretty much make a mess. So I decided to make one file for each one and make it like not global but local. So once we use it, we just ignore it. So we create the key values like usual. Key v equals create key values trails, and then we basically get the files to the key values. So right there I'm explaining a bit what the build path does, which is basically gonna say build a path and then put the string in sconfig, which is the variable that we're using in that case. So now we're going to type what build path does, or path sm actually. It's going to set the root directory to mod/atoms/sourcemod. Mod can be CS strike, half-life2mp, tf2, or any other, I don't know, mod you're using. It's going to depend on what game you are using. That's a mod. So then after that it's going to put all this stuff you typed, and all that is going to go to sconfig. That's basically how a build path works. So yeah, so again, that's why I put it over there and not on the plugin start, because we were going to have a bunch of different files. If you're going to have one file, then you can make it global. It just doesn't matter. Like I said before, we create the key values like always. Name it trails. Dump the file which is going to contain the key values to the key values itself we created, which is called key v trails. And I don't know why I'm pressing so much key v. And then we do something which is called key v go to first of key. Key v go to first of key is basically gonna say we have the root, or the main one, which is trails. That's gonna be the main key. Inside the main key you're gonna have subkeys that we've been using all the time, I think. Those subkeys are gonna have a name, and they're gonna contain data, which are gonna be subkeys of that subkey. So you can have as many subkeys as you want. Kind of. So as you can see, I'm typing some stuff. I named that subkey trail black. I give it a color, a size, and a price. The thing is, you can have multiple of those. You can not only have one, but you can have a lot, like there. I have a black one, red one, a yellow one that I completely misspelled, and then the last one, which is gray, with E or with E, with A or with E. It's the same color, it's gray. So of course they're gonna have different values. The color is gonna be gray, size is gonna be different, price, whatever. It's gonna always change for each one of those. So go to first of key is gonna say, okay, we're standing at the trails when we first open that file and get the key values. What key v go to first of key is gonna do is jump to the first of key, which is gonna be trail black. We're gonna go from trails to trail black. We're jumping. We're doing what the function says. We go from the main key to the first subkey, which is trail black. Okay? And it's always going to be the first one. Like, as you can see, the first one over there was trail black, not trail red. Trail red is going to be the second one, which we're going to see in a second how it works. But yeah, that's one is going to be the first one. If we remove that one, then trail red is going to be the first one. If we don't have any of those, then we're not going to have a first of key. So that if statement is going to return false. That's why we're printing error, that one, no trails were found. Then we go to do while loop. A do while loop is going to say do that and then check the condition, instead of doing a normal while loop, which would do it and check the condition first. And there I demonstrate the difference between a for loop and a while loop. As you can see, for loop has a declaration, a condition, and an action. The declaration is going to be I equals 0 like always, or any other number you really want to. Then we have I until something, which that's the condition, and then I++, which is the action, which can be different if we really wanted to make it different. So that's gonna go from 0 to 119. In total, 120. So that's what the do while loop does. Well, not that's what. The while loop is gonna say true or false. It's not gonna test any other condition but true or false. That's why it has key v go to next sub key in there. Now, what would happen if we had a while loop instead of a do while loop? Well, first of all, I'm gonna teach you. Well, I'll explain this one. It's basically gonna do the following. It's going to jump to the first sub key, which is trail black, do all the stuff in the do condition or the do function, or call it whatever you want to call it. So it's going to get all the strings, all the data, and then it's going to go to the next sub key. So again, jump, do the stuff, and then go to the next one, right? As you can see, we're marking over there what's gonna do. The do one gets all the stuff, blah blah blah, while goes to the next one. But that's how it works. It's gonna get all the stuff in trail black, so the color, the size, and the price. It's gonna get everything. As you see over there, it says get section name, blah 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 blah. And key section name is actually gonna get the section, the name of the section you're in. And if, like we did before, key go to first of key, it's gonna jump to the first key, which is trail black. So key get section name is going to contain trail black, because we are in that section or sub key. Once we get the key section name, we want to get the string color, right, which is one that I typed there, and it's black or red or whatever you want it to be. As you can see, I'm explaining the while loop goes through all of them. But yeah, I'm fast forwarding this a bit, and yeah. Let me go back to the file. I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but there we go. No, you. Okay. The next one we do is key get string. As you can see, we get the color, and we store it in the variable called color, and then we assign it a default value, which is error. So being that said, if color doesn't exist in our key values, then we are going to set that to error. As simple as that. Doesn't get much difficult. So what I'm doing next is actually, let me go back to the file. There we go. Key get I do an if statement. It says if string equals color error, meaning if the color key that we try to find doesn't exist, which I'm going to go there in a second, that one, the one that I just pressed, if that doesn't exist, then we're going to set the value of color to error. That variable is going to contain error. I do that because in the next line there's an if statement. The if statement says, if the string equals color to error, meaning that if we didn't find it, if I forgot to type it for some reason or anything like that, then we're gonna set fail state. Now, set fail state. There, as you can see, I'm gonna show you what set fail state does. So, oh, there we go. Native set fail state reported map cycle not found. What this means? Map cycle not found is the thing that the coder that typed in the quotes, as you can see inside the set fail state, quote \n, all that stuff is he typed map cycle not found. Now, why do I do \n? As you know, \n means break the line. Why? Because as you can see, it says native set fail state reported : and then your message, which looks very awful, to be honest. So, being that said, I'm breaking the line. So what it's going to say, it's going to be native set fail state reported : leave 3 blank lines, print the error we want to print, leave an additional 3 other lines, and then it's going to print all the other stuff it wants to print, like the lines and all the stuff, the function where this was called from, and such. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you what set fail state is going to contain: the string and any. So any is going to be equaling any variable you want. Then you can use %s, %d, whatever inside that, and then replace that with an actual variable. Now, set fail state is not only going to do that, like show you that error and nothing else. It's going to stop the plugin from executing. Now, being that said, it's going to keep the plugin useless. It's going to pause it. It's going to unload it, right? Until you load it again. Once you load it again, it's going to do all of the code again, and if it actually goes to the set fail state again, it's going to unload it again, and again, and so on, until the condition is false, and it continues without having to set the fail state. So that's basically what I explained there. As you can see, well, again. So what I'm saying is that the color has not been defined, meaning that the color key or the color value was not found in that subkey. And I did the same thing with the price. So if the price one was missing, then same thing. As you can see, I print the for trail %s and then the name. So I get the name, which is trail black, right? And I print it there by getting the section name with key via section name, get section name. Same thing with price, like I said before. Check default value error. It's going to contain error if it wasn't found. Check for it. Set fail state. Blah 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 blah. Stuff we all know, or at least you should know because I already explained this. Then we assign. If there were no errors, then we want to assign there. How? Well, trails is going to be a multidimensional array. I already explained that, but I'm going to explain that way more in depth. It's going to be way better in this explanation, and believe me, it's going to help you a lot. So yeah. As you can see, we have trails I0, trails I1, trails I2. So at the beginning, I is going to be equaling 0 because I defined I up there equals 0, and it's going to add 1 by when the loop actually happens. So each time we jump from one key to another, it's going to add 1. So from trail black to trail red, it's going to actually add 1. Being that said, trails I0 is going to be equaling trails 0 0. The name is going to be equaling trails black. Same thing for color and same thing for price. We get the stuff from the first one and we put it there. Simple as that. And then I print it with the ID. I tell the name, price, and color, I think. All the basic stuff we do. And as you can see, we add 1 each time we loop. So the next time we go into that loop, it's gonna be in the second one. So trails red, my bad. Trails red is gonna say, okay, get all the information and do it again, but this time I is gonna be equaling 1. So trails I, which is 1, trails 1 0 equals trails red. Trails 1 1 equals the price or the color of trails red, and trails 1 2 is gonna equal the price of the trail red. So yeah, that's basically how it works. And as you can see, we say while key B go to next sub key. What this does, it's basically gonna jump to the next key. As you can see, sets the current position in the key value trees and then jumps to the next sub key. Blip, amazing. So if we're in trail black, then we're gonna jump to trail red. If we're in trail red, we're going to jump to trail yellow. If we're in trail yellow, we're going to jump to trail gray, and so on until we have no more subkeys. Simple, huh? Thought so. What else? That was a Skype. Yeah, that was Skype. This is a for loop. Normal for loop we use always. And what this for loop does is gonna say new is O equals I. Again, I is a local variable for that one. But first of all, before going into that one, because it's gonna confuse you if I don't explain this better, I'm gonna define trails. As you can see, it's a multidimensional string array. So now that I check everything, I'm gonna type equals blah, blah, blah. So I give it 200 items to hold up to 200 trails, and each trail is gonna have 3 subkeys or sub values or slots, and each one of those is gonna have 200 characters each. So this is how we do to initialize a multidimensional array. Okay, I missed there. Wait a minute. There, second one, or well, third one. Okay, as you can see, the last one doesn't have a comma because the last one never has a comma. Never. But that's not the last one, of course, since we have like 200 of those. We have to fill all of them. We cannot fill like 3 and then say, okay, yeah, SourceMod is smart and it's gonna know which one is which. So yeah, those 3 quotes you see in there, and they're repeating in each line, that's gonna be the values that is gonna be inside. Like there I'm explaining that there are gonna be like a lot of those. There have to be 200, like I said before. They cannot be less. If you put 10, they're gonna be 10. If you put 9, they're gonna be 9. If you put 200, you gotta initialize 200. So as you can see, there are gonna be 200 of those, which is the first value that we put into the brackets. Now the second value, which is 3, are gonna be the quotes. As you can see, there are 3 quotes for every line, or for every one of those slots. And those quotes, which are the 3 subkeys or slots that we defined, are gonna be able to contain 200 characters, which is the third value that we put in the bracket. So that's how you can, I don't know, imagine a multi-dimensional array when you are initializing it or creating it. I don't know. So as you can see there, I'm saying which one is which. The first one is going to be 0, like always. The second one is going to be 1. The third one is going to be 2. And the fourth one is going to be 3, because we always start from 0. In SourceMod, in C++, I think in every language that I know of starts from 0 when it comes to arrays, and probably something else that I'm missing right now. Yeah, and no, you cannot keep the numbers over there like 0, 1, 2, 3. You can put them like after the curly braces with a comment, you know, double slash, and then you can put 0, 1 if that's easier for you to remember, or I don't know, you would just want to put them because you just yeah, whatever. As you can see down there, no, trails, what the hell am I doing? Yeah, I'm saying, okay, the for loop. The for loop is gonna be kind of confusing. As you can see, it says new I equals new O equals I. By that I mean make O equal I, and since I is declared before and it's gonna add 1 each time it does the while loop, I is gonna contain the value of how many keys we have there: trail black, red, yellow, and whatever. So it's gonna go from that number, which is in our case 3, because 0, 1, 2, 3, and loop until 200, because that's the size of the trails array, right? The numbers of values that we can store. And what's gonna do, it's gonna assign all the values in the quotes to 0 or nothing in this case, because we don't want any value if we didn't load anything from there. For example, if we didn't have that key because it didn't exist, then we want to just loop through all of them, like the resting one that don't exist, and we want to assign that to nothing, like no data whatsoever. What would be cool if we could actually remove those so it doesn't take space in the memory, but unfortunately we can't, and that's the way arrays work in every programming language. So yeah, we assign that to 0 and to nothing, I mean, excuse me, to prevent any sort of crash in the future or stuff like that, corrupt data. So yeah, that's basically how it works. As you can see, I don't know what I'm doing. Trail black. Oh yeah, you can name that whatever you want. The name is gonna have the name you want. Okay. Another thing you can do is, for example, instead of doing it the way we did before, which is having a lot of those, you can have one of those. As you can see, I don't know why I put 2, but you have to have one of those. And when you have one of those and you do the same thing, you can use either key v go to first sub key like we did here, or in fact you can use key v jump to key that I'm going to show you in a second. That you can use key v jump to key over there. As you can see, there we go, jump to key. Now what that's going to do, as you can see, I wrote 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all so on, and then I wrote data. So being that said, when we loop through each one of those, through each one of the sub keys of black trails, because those are also sub keys, believe it or not, but it only just has one data or value, so it doesn't need any curly braces or anything like that, but it's sub key, even though it doesn't have any braces or anything like that. So that's amazing. So when we do this and we use the same way, the do and the while, what's gonna do is key v section name is gonna get the number, or the name actually of that, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then it's gonna do all the stuff after that. But here's the thing, it's not that easy or that simple. You can use that to get the name, but after that you're gonna have to store the name and do the following thing. You're gonna have to do key v get string key v, and then where it says color, as you can see with the quotes, which is supposed to be the key that we have to find or get, in that particular case you have to use key v comma, and you have to use the section name, right? Because since the data is gonna be in that section name, which is 0, 1, or 2, or 3, then you want to get the data from that key. So it might be a bit confusing, but if you watch this again, you'll actually get it, because we get the value from there, like 0 equals data, 1 equals data. So we want to get the string from 0, we want to get the string from 1, and so on. That's basically how it works. It's not very complicated, it's pretty simple actually. But yeah, wait a minute, guys. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just making that clear and stuff. So yeah, you can, I think you can only have one, like black trails. You cannot have black trails, red trails, because it's not gonna jump. Like, it's gonna get to the end and then it's gonna stop, unless you do another jump to key. For example, if you jump to key, black trails, red trails instead of that one, or instead of doing the key jump to key, maybe you have to do a key rewind and then key jump to next key. I'm not sure about that, because and I've never messed with that, right? But yeah, that's the tutorial, guys. Thank you for liking the video. Please like it, because I've been doing this voiceover and it took like me 2 hours to record this, and then I have to edit it. So please, thumbs up, favorite it, share it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week, or maybe this week, I don't know. See ya.